Hello and welcome to another Arsecast Extra, as always, with James from Gunnerblog. James, good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing?
I am a bit tired.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
From lack of sleep?
Yeah, that's usually the cause, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or I suppose...
any particular reason?
Yeah, Lana. She, since Archer is gone, has decided that she has a new role, that of night watchman. And she sleeps at the back of the house. There's sort of an office at the back of the house, and it sees out, or it looks out over the garden. And our garden gets nighttime visitors, foxes in particular, and she is on full alert all the time. And, some nights she's fine. Other nights, if a fox has the temerity to come into our garden, she is then like, I'm on full patrol here. So you let her out, she barks to get out, you let her out, and then, come on, get back in this house. Get back to bed. And she goes to bed for a little bit, and then she's like, Wah! And it's a difficult cycle to break. And then she'll relax only when I get up. So if I get up, make my cup of coffee and come upstairs to do my blog, as I do every morning and have done every morning since she was a puppy and arrived, she then gets into her big Mr. Fluffy friend, lies there content, snoozing away, flat on her back. Her work is done. Her night's work is done.
Yeah, you're there to take over the shift, essentially.
Exactly. So she had a bit of that this morning. I think I was up at about 4:45, something like that. So.
Yeah. We actually had comments from people because you put out the call for questions unusually early.
Yeah.
And I think a few people were like, what are you doing up?
Yeah, why are you up?
What's going on?
Yeah, I had a like, it was so early. I had a small conversation with Elliot on WhatsApp before he went to bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. That's why I'm tired. But apart from that, I'm all right. How's it all go on your end?
Yeah, all fine. All fine. I'm tired, but not in a sort of lack of sleep way, just a kind of general wear and tear,
Yeah.
But I actually slept all right last night. So
That's
there you
good.
go. I haven't got a guard dog in my house.
No.
That's the thing. And I haven't got foxes infiltrating that close to the property. So it's all well and good.
It's a nice life you have, let me tell you.
It's interesting that she's assumed this role. She's like, well, now Archer is gone. I guess somebody's going to have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe Archer all these years was like, Lana, chill.
I mean, he was a very chilled out dog. He would just sleep all night. There was very rarely any barking from him. And he would sleep up the front of the house. She would sleep down the back of the house. And, they had their roles. But yeah, since he's gone, I think she's obviously feeling, I've got to be in protection mode here, which is, is kind of funny because she's a big carroty custard, really. She's a bit of a scaredy cat, unless it is an actual cat that she's after or a fox. I feel like she can take those. Any kind of big dog, she's like, no, I'm getting out of here.
Oh, man. I don't know. Is there anything you can do to stop the foxes getting in?
I mean, I suppose I could build a dome over the back garden or some kind of netting,
Glass dome.
Yeah. When you go to an away game in Europe and you're standing there in the section where you're allowed be for the away fans, and they always have a net in front.
Yes.
To prevent...
In case you were thinking of hurling yourself from the top tier to the pitch.
Or some kind of projectile, I guess. Like if you came in with like a baseball.
A bazooka.
Or, that kind of thing. It'll all just rebound back. So maybe I could get one of those. But it seems like a lot
You'd have to
go through.
A travelling fat, Tim Stillman or similar, to sort of cut one down from the new camp. You know what I mean? Ship it to you.
Yeah, or just have it custom made, I think,
That might be easier. It's an idea.
So have you been watching any football during the interlull? There was a game yesterday.
Yes.
Which,
our nations met, Andrew.
Yes, our nations. I watched a bit of the first half because I was making dinner and it was on while we were having dinner, and I feel like Ireland were absolutely robbed of a penalty when Evan Ferguson was hauled down unceremoniously by Mark Gay. The shirt pull of a lifetime, but of course no penalty was given. And then I turned it off, and that seems like it was a wise decision based on what happened in the second half.
Yes, 6 minutes of a kind of madness, said the Ireland manager.
Right.
Heimer Hallgrimsson. Good Irish name on that lad. And he said, yes, it was a shock conceding a penalty, conceding a goal and losing a player. We'd probably lost our heads at that moment.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch it because obviously the Arsenal interest in it was minimal.
None.
Well, indeed. Declan Rice not playing for either country. And Bukayo Saka, or Bukayo Osaka,
not playing,
his Irish name.
Not playing for either country.
Not playing for either country.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't actually watch it. But, I gather in the second half, England kind of steamrolled Ireland somewhat.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Not
so
for
never speak of it.
Not for the first time.
No, exactly, yeah. But no, I haven't really been that across it. I've sort of seen bits and pieces and the odd goal, and I saw the news about Leandro Trossard going off injured.
Yeah. That's not, I mean, we don't know yet how serious it is, if it's serious at all. But if a player goes off in the first half, you're always a little bit worried that it's something. How big the something is, we don't quite know. I've been quite intrigued by some of the responses I've seen, where people going, yeah, maybe it's a blessing in disguise he got injured. Mikel Arteta will have to do something different. Trossard hasn't been good this season. He needs to change something in the team. He needs to, maybe sit Trossard down for a bit. And look, I get that. I think you can hold that point of view without being, I don't want to say you're happy that the player is injured, but I don't see any good from a player being injured, even if there might be, something different in the team because of his absence, if he is absent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think he's not been great of late. I think everyone's pretty much agreed on that. But I do think that there was a period of time where, he was important to the team, and, we kind of switched up our system to accommodate him, especially in the absence of Martin Odegaard. So I think he's still a player who has real value to us. He's so versatile as well, can play a number of different parts of the pitch, a good substitute for the most part, which I don't think you can put a price on that really. So I hope it's nothing. My cursory research tells me it looked like an impact wound rather than a muscular problem.
Okay.
Which generally, the prognosis would be better, unless the impact shatters your leg into 1,000 pieces.
Well, yeah, from what we've heard, that isn't the case, though. He did seem to come off the pitch with both legs intact. Just how painful
we'll
they are.
That.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Trossard is I think it's perfectly fair to hold the opinion that he hasn't been great this season, and he's had some difficult moments, and sometimes you go through a period like that as a player where it feels like everything goes wrong, the red card and then contributing to the Saliba red card. Those kinds of things, are not typical for him. But what I would say is that if you're thinking about a player who can come off the bench and do something for Arsenal and do something for this Arsenal team, he is like top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, is that quite the compliment it seems?
No, maybe not. But when I think, if people want something to change in the team, which is fine, to have somebody who can come off the bench and get a goal or make an assist, then I think that's very useful. I mean, when I said he's top of the list, I think he's kind of the only one on the list.
Yes.
Which is maybe the bigger
elephants
problem.
in this room are Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus, right?
Mm.
And who knows, they may turn the corner in terms of their contribution. Lord, we all hope so. But Trossard has proven himself, I think, since he arrived to be a really valuable contributor. A doorbell's gone.
Doorbell.
I better answer it.
You better.
Give me a second. See, what I did, Andrew, I knew, much like Arsenal's forward line, that we were looking a bit light for content today.
Okay.
So I pre-arranged that delivery.
Excellent.
To fall during the podcast, just to give us a little something.
Sure. 30 seconds of doorbell music just takes a little bit of the stress off us having to talk.
It's 30 seconds we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it is, actually. I said to leave it downstairs, so it may even be stolen by a neighbour before I find out.
Oh,
who knows?
That would give me anxiety, I have to say.
I'm a trusting guy, too trusting, really. Trossard, yes, I think he's proven that he can make a big contribution, and it would be a blow. So let's hope it's nothing.
Yes, yeah.
More players in action this evening, right? Potentially Jakub Kivior, I think.
Yeah, Kivior, Marino, and David Raya.
Yeah,
I think. And tomorrow, then it's Kai Havertz, and the Brazilians could be playing as well tomorrow.
Right.
Who else? I'm just looking up the fixtures. I know that Ukraine could be playing also. Yeah, they're facing Albania. Ukraine didn't. I don't think Zinchenko played for Ukraine.
He doesn't really play football so much anymore.
No.
He's an author now. He's focused on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. I think then the Brazilian players, Gabriel and Gabriel Martinelli, will be playing. I can't remember who they're playing.
Yeah, they play Uruguay in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Yes, in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
And that's taking place at the Arena Fonte Nova, which of course is in Salvador.
Right.
Oh, cool. I've been there, I think.
You have? Oh, you were out there for one of the World Cups.
I was out for the World Cup, and I went to a game in Salvador, so I assume it's at that stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, so early hours of Wednesday morning, so let's think about that. So they play then. They probably don't fly back till, Thursday? They probably land Thursday?
Yeah, they'd probably do like a straight after the game flight, wouldn't they?
Oof. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, is it? I think we probably don't think about that too much when they come back from international duty, but that is a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
To be going into a game on Saturday lunchtime, afternoon, you know.
Yeah. The jet lag and all of it, not great. And it's always because of the way the fixtures are over there. It seems like the players who are furthest away come back latest as well. So that's something.
Yeah, I think the European calendar has kind of synced itself up a little bit, right? So that the fixtures tend to get played, be wrapped up a little bit sooner. Alas. And then I guess it'll be waiting for news on people like aforementioned Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of shape they're in for the weekend. We do know as well, since the last time we talked, that we have lost another player. Ben White,
yes,
has undergone surgery on his knee and will be out for a period of time. That's not great, is it?
No, and at this stage we don't really know how long, but any sort of procedure on your knee, however minor, it's going to be weeks, I would think,
Yeah.
I can't imagine a scenario where it's less than, I think, a few weeks in the very best case scenario. So that is a definite blow, although a good thing to have got done if it was required, Like, I think, I know you talked about this with Clive the other day, but I think it was evident that he has been carrying things. We know from his history, he's a guy who likes to play whatever happens, and it's very difficult to get him to sit down. But I think if it means we get a fully fit Ben White back in a few weeks' time, then so be it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, fingers crossed. It's just, it feels like every week there's a new issue, a new injury, a new problem, a new difficulty for Mikel Arteta. And, before the international break, before the interlull, he's saying he's praying that he gets everybody back and in good physical shape. I feel like he's not praying hard enough. He might need to go to Lourdes or something,
Right, yeah.
Look for a miracle.
Or turn to another god. Some darker gods. you know? Some sort of satanic sacrifice may be what's required here.
Like Zool.
Yeah, exactly.
He was really good. At the very worst, the players turn into kind of ancient dog demons.
It's worth a try.
It's worth a go. What else? What else could go wrong this season? So
yeah, exactly. We've got nothing to lose at this point in time. Ben White, that's a blow. But not much else has happened, has it, from an Arsenal perspective?
No, I don't
We're
think
quite
so.
reliant on questions today.
We are a bit, aren't we? We are a bit.
But the good news is we've cast the net wide.
For sure. For sure. We've got Discord, we've got Threads, and we've got Blue Sky now, which is an interesting platform which has grown quite a lot over the last couple of weeks and feels kind of like Twitter used to feel.
Go on, because I've signed up and I'm on there, and I insist every listener immediately follows me, but I've not yet fully. I've dipped my toe, but I'm yet to submerge my foot, as it were.
Right.
So how's it going? What's it like?
It just like Threads is sort of confusing and not chronological and not particularly intuitive, whereas this just seems like you follow the people you want to follow. The stuff that they post appears in chronological order. It's sort of a real-time thing, which I think for football and football news, and particularly around matches and stuff, is really, really important. Yeah. And it just doesn't seem quite as toxic as the other place. And there are good tools for blocking and muting and things like that. So there does seem to have been a bit of an exodus or a reconvening of people, Arsenal people and football people over onto Blue Sky. And I'm sure there are people who won't care for it and don't care for it and are quite happy with their social media the way they have it right now. But I think it's just a kind of, it does remind me a bit of what Twitter used to be before it became as challenging to use.
It is frustrating and a bit of a wrench to leave a platform where you've built up such a big following, right? It feels kind of like a shame in some respects. And I have had a few people message me saying, like, I don't understand, what's your issue here? And I think, sometimes they're less polite than that. Sometimes they call me a libtard or something like that.
Yes.
But actually, what I would say is, politics aside, the problem with X, what Twitter has become, is primarily one of functionality. Like, if I was able to have engaging discussions on it, or actually get good feedback to things I post, if things I posted were able to generate traction, then I would probably still be using it more. But it doesn't anymore. It's a bit broken now. If you post an external link, the algorithm doesn't like it very much. The first 10 comments are all AI generated blue tick nonsense, and it kills any further sense of engagement. So if Blue Sky is a more organic way of actually talking to people who are interested in what I do, then that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it just seems to be easier to engage on there. And like you said, it's not, leaving politics aside, it's just a space where you want to have a chat to people about football, about Arsenal, without being bludgeoned over the head with a lot of other stuff and unacceptable stuff. That was where lines in the sand were for me. There was a lot of unchecked discrimination and racism and things like that, which I just felt like I just don't want to see that.
See, I loved all that, Andrew. I loved all that. But it was the functionality.
Right. Well, there you go. You see, it's horses for courses. We all have our own reasons. We all have our own reasons for this stuff. So,
but yes, it's always exciting as well. Like the emergence of a new community.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like here's the next thing we've all got to be on, and then there'll be another thing that we've all got to be on.
It will settle eventually, though.
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, look, the bottom line is, for Arseblog and the podcast and stuff, we have our own platform. We have the website. We have our platform there, which will always be there regardless of what happens with social media and social media platforms. So that is sort of like the constant that we have, and we're very fortunate to have that as well.
True.
And we do have, for people who are listening and have been emailing about the apps, in particular the Android app, which is not available on the, on the Google Play Store because of a change that they made, and then they made the app, they just said, we've made this change, now your app's not here. We are working very, very hard to get updated versions of the apps out for Android and for iOS as well. So do keep an eye. We'll give you the heads up, but I'm hopeful from the last conversation I had with Simon, the developer, that we might get something out this week. But don't hold me to that and send me terrible messages if we don't do it in time. But we're on it. Don't stress.
Okay. Speaking of upgrades, is it all right if I pivot to a question?
Of course.
Well, this one comes from this newfangled blue sky nonsense, and it's from RJ McCready. And they say, morning, gents. With talk of a stadium expansion beginning to build, what kind of changes would you like to see, and what's even possible? Fans closer to the pitch, steeper, more intimidating tiers, maybe something from the SoFi that you'd like to see replicated. And I guess this is in response to a story, I think, in Bloomberg, maybe, about Arsenal looking to expand the capacity of the Emirates Stadium.
Yes, I've seen these stories doing the rounds. And I remember at the time the stadium was built, it was pretty clear that there was no real scope for an expansion in terms of the capacity, not just because of the difficulty of doing that in the space that it exists, but I think there are issues with regards public transport and those kinds of things as well, weren't there? That the infrastructure around the stadium, I think there was all kinds of discussions about that when the 60,000 capacity was built in.
One thing I remember from the building of it is that I think they had to subtly change the structure of the roof, because I think the roof was originally meant to kind of, how can I describe it? Sort of arc upwards,
Right.
But then they sort of contravened some sort of planning ruling about how tall the building could be.
Right.
So that's why the roof kind of almost folds inwards on the stadium. And why you can't see the big screens up in the corners from certain angles. Yeah.
So I have heard, though, that they have been discussing the stadium, not necessarily in terms of the capacity. I did ask Tim Payton from the AST about this, because I did see a couple of these questions, and he has come back to me this morning about the review of the stadium overall could include capacity, but it would also include things like catering, entrance and exit, connectivity. I did hear last year that there was going to be a fairly substantial project about ensuring or improving the in-stadium connectivity. Like if you go to SoFi Stadium, for example, which is owned by KSE and the Kroenkes, and you've been there, and it is a very, very impressive stadium, the connectivity on your mobile phone, whether it's Wi-Fi or whether it's from 5G with your phone network, is unbelievable. Unbelievably good. People will argue, is it a good thing, a bad thing, that people will be able to get better connectivity on their phones during a game? Are they going to sit there playing Candy Crush, or are they going to watch the football? Those kinds of things, I guess. But that is, I think, the next, or one of the next steps for the Emirates Stadium. And I don't quite know what's going to happen with that project as it is, but it was certainly part of the plan. And whether or not they can do anything in terms of the capacity, I'm not sure. It feels like the only way they could do it really is either take the roof off, which seems basically impossible, or they go down.
Well, that was my only thought. Thinking back to SoFi, and the way that that's constructed,
yeah,
they go down.
Yeah, the pitch is like 5 stories below ground level at SoFi. It's quite something when you walk in. It's sort of disconcerting in a way, isn't it? You're walking in on the ground floor and then you're like, holy fuck, that's a long way down.
It's like a sinkhole that sort of opens up for you.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is, though, like that feels like it would be if, I don't even know if it's feasible or not. I'm not an engineer or anything like that. But if that, let's say that is a possibility, and let's say that is something that the club or the Cronkies are prepared to do, that leaves us in a stadiumless situation for quite a while, doesn't it? You're talking probably a couple of years, maybe, to get that done?
At least 2 seasons, surely.
So then you're talking Wembley.
Well,
no.
There is a massive...
No.
Can you imagine?
No. I can't actually imagine. No. I can't imagine.
We can't play at the toilet bowl.
No.
It would be blasphemous.
Oh, absolutely. No way.
Sacrilegious.
No way. I mean, it's just mad, isn't it? Sometimes you think about the Milan clubs, at the San Siro.
Yeah.
And but that's something they're used to. You couldn't ask, good, wholesome Arsenal people to go there.
No, I think you would be talking Wembley.
Yeah. It's the only real...
and there's some precedent of Wembley.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Albeit, 25 years ago?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
I mean, Spurs actually used it as their home ground more recently. So it's not ideal. But yeah, I have to say, listen, I think it'd be fantastic if we could expand the capacity. I think there's clearly the demand, especially right now. 80,000, which is the mooted number, doesn't feel unreasonable. I'm not saying it would be full every single game at 80,000, but I think it'd be full often enough for it to be worthwhile for the club. But it is very difficult logistically to see how it might happen. I mean, I've seen people say, if we introduce safe standing, that would dramatically expand the capacity. But
I don't know that it does. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does. I think that's sort of part of the deal, right? Like that's partly why it's safe, in inverted commas.
Yeah, if you were to introduce old style terraces, yes. But safe standing, I think, it may even reduce capacity from what I've read. I'm not sure.
Certainly Arsenal intimated that it might around the time when it was being more sort of hotly debated. There were certainly no guarantees it would increase it. I can't see, for the reasons, I don't know if it's literally to do with like airplane flights and stuff, but I think there is some issue with us going up. And I seem to recall when the stadium was built in 2006 that was a problem they encountered. So I think it's down or nothing. And we don't know what's down there, Andrew. Tube trains, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Unexploded bombs from World War II.
Turtles.
Yeah. What, you mean like the Teenage Mutant?
Yeah, they live in the sewers, don't they,
That's true with Splinter, their rat sensei.
Yeah. But I mean, it's difficult.
It's laced with peril. A wormhole. We might open up a wormhole to another dimension.
Maybe that dimension is one in which we don't get any injuries and we actually win the fucking league. So I say give it a go.
As we said earlier, we've got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose at this point.
I don't doubt, like you. I mean, KSE are real estate guys. That's their thing. And they will be looking at the development opportunities that exist. At this stage, I don't know how they could possibly do it.
Leaving capacity aside, are there things that you would like to see developed within the stadium in terms of facilities or, things that might keep people in the ground longer, get them in the ground earlier, keep them in the ground longer, those kinds of things? Is there scope for improvement, with food and drink or, I know they have over the years, made improvements, but are there things that you would like to see?
I think so. I mean, obviously there are parts of the stadium that are very plush. If you've ever been in club level or anything above that. But the concourse itself, for your average, your average fan, I mean, I sit in the lower tier, and that concourse is basically just a concrete expanse. Now, I know there's sort of people who would say, well, you don't want it too plush, right? Like that, you don't want it too, it sort of takes away from...
Like you don't want a chaise lounge there. Is that what you're saying? You don't...
Kind of.
Yeah.
Just one long circular chaise lounge goes all the way around.
Where everybody can just sort of take a turn lounging, reclining before the game. I'm going to the Emirates to recline for a bit before the game.
What would I like, though? I think it'd be nice if there were like some proper like bar spaces, for example. Like rather than just like kiosks and pillars. Like if there was something that felt like somewhere that you could actually hang out and meet people beforehand and have a drink, have some food maybe, that isn't the dreaded cardboard pizza. But it's that thing of like, you don't want it all to feel like club level, because I think at that point it sort of becomes almost too corporate an environment. You don't want it to be too nice.
No. You got to find the balance. You got to get the Goldilocks improvements. Yeah. Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
I think the data thing, like as much as people might roll their eyes at that, I think it has already slightly improved. I don't know exactly where they are in that process, and I don't think it will be cheap to do. But I think that is a big thing for a stadium. Like in this modern world, that degree of connectivity and that sort of the presence that will give the Emirates on social media is absolutely enormous.
Yeah, it's going to be a job for the Premier League's copyright people when 60,000 people are uploading videos that they've taken of the game, and they're getting them for, oh, you can't do that. That's copyright. That's copyright.
You're keeping people in work, Andrew.
Yeah, that's it. You're creating new jobs.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see. It's that interesting thing where in my mind, the Emirates Stadium was built sort of yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Because I was reared on Highbury, and it'll always be kind of the stepdad in the situation. But it is now almost exactly 20 years old. And yeah, it's a little bit dated. So they've already given it the facelift with the exterior.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I mean, is it 20 or is it 18?
Oh, it's 18 now.
It's 18 now. So it's 2006 was the first game.
Yes.
So, yeah, things can be. But I'd really like to see a giant fox net. Yeah. Over the top.
That would be good.
That would be good. Keep the foxes out, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, any intrepid foxes try to climb up and into the stadium from the roof. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, abseiling down. A team of cunning foxes abseiling down from the roof to cause mischief.
I'd like, instead of the tunnel, I'd like the players to come up through the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like something from Gladiator or something. Like they're maybe the centre circle like moves back like in like the swimming pool in Thunderbirds. And then there's flames all around, and Arsenal come up on this rising plinth.
Yeah, that would be good. Or you could just catapult them out through the hole, land them on a trampoline.
Yeah.
That won't do any good for our injuries, actually. Nix that. That's not a good idea. Sounded perfect in my head when I thought of it.
Until the trampoline.
Until the trampoline came in, I was like, oh, no. Have you been on a trampoline lately?
Not for years.
Me neither. And I feel like I'm missing out because trampolines are great fun.
I was very fortunate. We had a big garden when I was a kid, and we had a sizable trampoline in it. And the wrestling matches I had with my brother live on in infamy.
Right.
Trampoline.
Bouncy wrestling.
Bouncy wrestling, including some sort of like doing moves off the trampoline to the ground and stuff like that. I mean, how we survived without paralysing each other is kind of remarkable. But you're very bendy and bouncy as a child.
That's true.
Especially me. I was extra bouncy. I had all this padding. So but I love a trampoline. Could you do flips and stuff on a trampoline?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
I just remember bouncing really, really high.
Yeah, next week we're going to have to get a trampoline. We'll do a live pod.
From a trampoline, yeah.
If what happens if you attempt to forward flip?
I mean, are there sort of trampoline
parks?
Yeah, trampoline.
Yeah, there are.
Really?
Of course there are. There's everything in London.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. Could you have one of those at the Emirates Stadium? Underneath, where the car park is now.
I've just noticed there's one. I just Googled it here. Guess what it's called? It's called Jump Zone.
Yeah.
In Dublin here in Liffey Valley.
There's one in Dublin. Flip Out in Brent Cross looks pretty good.
Right.
I mean, I presume these are designed primarily for children, but I'm sure they won't mind me, a strange-looking man in my late 30s, going down on my own to trampoline among the children.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've sort of pivoted away from the point, haven't we?
Perhaps so. So yeah, we'll see with the stadium.
We'll see with the stadium and the potential for a trampoline park in the vicinity. What about this question? This is from the Discord. It comes from Third Doink. And I don't know if you saw the quotes doing the rounds, but Third Doink asks, is there a way for Robin van Persie to repair his relationship with the fans? If so, how?
Good question. He's been talking. He's a manager now, right?
He is. Not a very good one, it doesn't look like, but...
Not so far, no. It strikes me that he might fall into that camp of sort of player who's too talented to really be able to cope with dealing with your average footballer. That kind of Glenn Hoddle thing, where it's like, can't you just do this?
Yeah, do this amazing thing. Yeah.
And if I'm right, I'm paraphrasing, but he sort of said something like, I don't know if being Arsenal manager would be in my future.
He said, I don't expect to work at Arsenal. I think that door is closed because of my switch to Manchester United. You never know in football, but that's my guess. It's still a sensitive issue for them. Not for me. It's especially sensitive for the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, where does he rank? In terms of sort of Ashley Cole, Cesc Fabregas, who else would be on this sort of list of potential dishonour? Villains.
I mean, Adebayor would be, I suppose.
Yeah. Where is Van Persie in
Nasri. I mean, I think he's got to be quite close to the top.
I think, weirdly, Nasri might be at the top. I don't know why. I just feel like...
It's his face.
It's his face, yeah. But Van Persie, I think Cesk's a bit of a divisive one. There are plenty of people who still, I think of Cesc as an Arsenal guy. And there are others who find him attending an F1 race absolutely unforgivable to this day. I think Gael Clichy, no one really cares one way or the other.
No, definitely not.
Who were the others we said?
Adebayor. I mean, he did the knee slidey thing, didn't he, when he scored that goal for Man City?
He
and
also
then
played for Spurs.
He went and played for Spurs as well, yeah. So,
but I don't think that was as painful a defection as Van Persie.
No, he just annoyed people. Whereas I think there was definite hurt to Van Persie. I think the thing with Van Persie is, whatever you think about Fabregas, he gave us a lot in the years that he played for us. Consistently, he gave us a hell of a lot. And then, the lure of his hometown club, not just any old club either, it is Barcelona, and it was Pep Guardiola as well, who was kind of his hero. And I know it didn't work out for him. I think the Chelsea thing is what kind of cements Cesc as a villain for some people, much more than the Formula One thing. But he gave us a lot, and I don't think we necessarily built the right kind of team around a talent like that. So for me, there's a lot of regret with Cesc because I think we should have had better players alongside him, and I think we would have been more successful. With Van Persie, I think, for me anyway, the talent was always there. The potential was obvious, but the availability was not. He spent a lot of time injured, a lot of time out injured, and he got himself fit, played brilliantly for 18 months and then fucked off. And I think that is what kind of rankles for me anyway, is like we were very supportive of him during all these years that he was injured when we could have used him and when we needed him. And then obviously he went to Manchester United and
he won the league as well. Like that really was salt in the wound.
Yeah.
But even with Ashley Cole, who, that's a bad one. He is not a popular man. I have sensed in the last 12 months, 18 months, a slight softening there, or at least a kind of reevaluation of his contribution to Arsenal. Van Persie, I think, might be top of the list.
I think so.
Yeah, in terms of like the level of animosity that still exists. I loved him as a player, and when he sort of figured out how to play that centre forward position on his own and stayed fit, he was absolutely exceptional. There's no doubt at all about that. It felt like he could do things to win games on his own at times.
Well, he kind of needed to as well.
Yes, he did.
At that period.
In that period. But yeah, I don't see a way back for him. I mean, you never know. Like if we hire some Dutch manager and they are like, I want Van Persie as my assistant or something. There's always football. You never know in football. But yeah, I think he's right in his estimation that there's still a lot of grievances.
I think he would need to fund a trampoline park.
Yeah.
For Islington and North London area to even have a chance of getting the fans back on side. Everyone gets a free token as well. Like,
at least we've shown him a pathway back. You know what I mean? It's like he knows what he needs to do. He needs to fund. He needs to work hard, save money, and then invest it all in a trampoline park underneath the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah.
Then we will consider.
We'll have we'll think about it.
We'll consider forgiving.
Take a vote.
Mainly we'll be jumping on the trampolines.
We'll take a vote on whatever the new social media platform of the day is.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, look, why don't we take a little break here because we've done a bit and we do have more questions.
Yeah, we do. And we've got some good stuff coming up.
We do.
Don't go away.
Whatever you do.
Critical T player ratings game.
Oh, good. I like that.
We've got our points tally predictions for the next 8 Premier League games.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. We're doing that,
and also we've got lots of questions about Kieran Tierney.
We do, actually.
Don't go away.
Don't go away, and stand by the way, for information on the all-new, all-shiny Goodly Morning Mug, which will be available to you right now. As you're listening to this, it is available, so we'll give you the details of that and much more right after this. Welcome back to the Arsecast Extra. This is part 2 of the show where we answer the questions that you send to us on Threads at Gunnerblog and at Arseblog. Also on Blue Sky. You can find us on there. Search for Arseblog. Search for Gunnerblog. It's a bit weird, a bit different in terms of the handles. And also on the Arseblog Discord chat server, which you get access to if you are an Arseblog member on Patreon. James, we talked last week about your Goodly Morning Mug not going through the dishwasher very well and everything peeling off and that kind of stuff. So we now have new Goodly Morning Mugs on sale.
Resplendent Goodly Morning Mugs.
With new artwork as well. And
they're red as well, Andrew.
They are red. They are red. That's good. And they're available right now. You'll find the link to the fucking the mug. The link is in the show notes. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. We'll post it on all the social media platforms as well.
All of them. Yeah.
I also noticed reading the blurb for this here mug, which has both your and mine's bald head adorning it.
Well, I mean, that's, tradition.
As it should be. It says here the mug diameter is 3.2 inches, for anyone who was wondering. But it also says dishwasher safe ceramic.
Right.
Now, it's up to you if you believe that. But in theory, dishwasher safe.
Well, I mean, is that
the ceramic, to be fair, hasn't broken?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is it the ceramic that is dishwasher safe? Is the printing, the design, does that come off in the dishwasher? I don't know. Like I said last week, I don't have a dishwasher.
You don't have a dishwasher. Right. Well, for those who don't have a dishwasher, before I turn mine on, I turn all the settings up to 11. I put it on nuclear mode.
Nuclear.
And believe it or not, that has taken its toll on the mug. But they're lovely mugs, and all the proceeds are going to go to good causes.
Absolutely. They're going to go to charity. So we will donate every single penny that we generate from the sales of these mugs will go to charity. We'll give you more details on those a little bit down the line when we've completely finalized our decisions on where they're going to go. But every single penny will go to good causes. So not only do you get a good mug or two, or find a very handy Christmas present for the Arsecast Extra listener in your life. We've taken all the hassle out of Christmas for so many people here.
That's right. And I know the folks at the James McNicholas Hair Transplant Foundation will be very grateful for the support at this time.
I don't know if we're going to sell that many. Don't know.
It's too big a job. Yes, I think they're great. They're great mugs. I will have to order some myself, actually.
Yeah.
We need, and maybe the return of the mugs, Andrew, will bring about the return to form of Arsenal.
Let's hope so.
It was the mugs all along. Speaking of form.
Okay.
Mark Adams on Blue Sky has listed our next 8 Premier League fixtures before the North London derby.
Right.
And says, how many points can we take and be happy with? Is 20 points achievable?
From 8 games?
Or will Ben White's loss affect our right-hand side too much? Right. I'm going to make a spreadsheet. I'm doing this properly.
Okay.
Blank spreadsheet. Thanks, Google. Okay. Right. James. Okay. Let's go game by game.
Right.
Nottingham Forest, home.
Win.
Win for me as well. West Ham away.
Win.
I've got a feeling I know what your answers are going to be. I will say win. Man U. Where's that game? Weirdly, they haven't said.
It's at home.
Oh, yeah. In the evening in midweek. At home, I think we'll win.
I agree.
Fulham at home.
It's Fulham away.
Right. Well, I've got a bone to pick with you, Mark Adams of Blue Sky. So I'm going to have to get the fixtures up now to double check. Well, sounds like you know the fixtures.
I've got them right here.
Fulham away.
I'm going to say a draw. And the Emile Smith-Rowe equaliser set up by Reece Nelson is going to sting.
Okay. Everton at home?
Win.
Got to be. Against Dyche's lot? Palace away? I think I'm a draw for that.
I think I'll say a win, but on the proviso that they're not experiencing a new manager bounce, which they could be. But
okay. Ipswich at home.
Win.
They've just, of course, famously won a game in North London recently.
They have, but that one's enough. They can be happy with that, and they don't have to do it again.
Brentford away.
Ooh.
Just because I know I've given us I've got us unbeaten so far, I might say that we might lose that. I just have a sneaky feeling.
I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's, memories of that Friday night way back when, but
Well, they've been
Brighton
very
at
good.
home.
They've been good this season. They're a difficult team to play against, Brentford.
Brighton at home? We've played Brighton at home.
It's Brighton away.
Oh, is that in the League Cup?
No, it's in the league.
Is it Brighton away?
Yeah.
What is this guy doing to us here? The others were right, though. Brighton away. Oh, that's hard, actually.
That's a win. That's a win. It's the Declan Rice revenge derby. Couple of goals from Big Deck. We're fine.
I'm going to say draw.
Right.
So, format. How do I
do anything?
How do I do things?
How do I do anything?
How do I make the sum of those numbers? Oh, no.
You just add them up. There's only a number.
But you know, on Google spreadsheets.
Yeah, but don't do a formula. Don't do a code thing. Just there's only like 8 games. Just add them up.
Okay,
it's really simple.
Right, your predicted points tally is 23.
Okay,
that's really good.
Yeah.
Of how many available?
8 by 3.
That can't be right.
Is 24, and I got 2 draws in there. I think. So what are you talking about? What are you doing?
I pressed the sum button. That's not right. All right, fine. I won't do the formula. You've got 2 draws, so you've dropped 4 points. Is that right?
It's 9 games as well, not 8 games.
Right,
9 games.
Don't come to me. I didn't set the question. It was
bloody Mark Adams.
Mark Adams.
What the hell are you?
He's made me look a right tit on the podcast.
So it's 27 points. So,
for God's sake, Mark.
Everyone.
Right, so it's 9 games. It's 27 points.
Yeah,
and you've got us dropping 4, so you've got us getting 23.
Yeah,
fine. I had us drawing 3 and losing 1.
Right.
So that is.
So drawing 3. And losing 1.
That's dropping 6 points. And losing 1 is another 3. So it's 9 total.
Points. So you've got 20.
20 from 20. How many were available?
How is that possible? How can you have 20?
No, it's not 20. I've got dropping 9 points from 27.
Oh, from 27, so it's 18.
So I've got 18.
My God. Anyone who did like secondary school maths is sitting here going, what a pair of fucking idiots.
Yeah, but we didn't know the games. How many games? What I'm saying is 23 from 27 would be very good. What you've predicted is very good.
Yeah.
I know that there'll doubtless be meltdowns if we were to draw at Fulham or at Brentford. But if we ended up with 23 from 27...
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And probably... still, I would say probably closer to the league leaders by the end of that than we are now.
Yeah.
I guess that's really what we're looking for.
That's it.
If we get what I've suggested, 18,
then I think go home. Just go home.
Yeah, I think we're looking. I do think at that point we're sort of looking at 3rd and 4th, really.
Yeah. If it's only 18, the mugs have not done their job.
That's true. And we'll be going back to those charities and asking for a refund.
Yeah, we need all that money back.
Right, well, thanks a lot, Mark Adams.
A great way to kick off part 2, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I promised so much. Go on, should we do these Kieran Tierney questions?
Do you want to do them? Have you got them there?
So many. We've had loads.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's the Kieran Tierney bots.
They're out in force.
I don't know what's happened. The people of Scotland have, as one, descended onto our questions section today.
Because there's one in the Discord, or a couple in the Discord as well, I think. And
maybe it's just one guy who's got that 8-burner account. Maybe it's Kieran Tierney himself.
Do you think he's trying to find out what's going to happen to him by asking us?
Like we had Macho on Blue Sky, who said, is Tierney the best complementary piece to the Marino Martinelli left-hand side available to Arteta? We had Al Wayne, 75. How serious an option is Kieran Tierney for the team? But this is the tip of the iceberg.
John Larkin on the Discord. Kieran Tierney is supposedly close to full fitness. Could you potentially see him getting any minutes between now and the January window, especially with all the injuries we're picking up in defence? I mean, it's not impossible, I suppose, but I would be very surprised. I feel like Kieran Tierney is as nailed on for a January loan as any player I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think loan at best?
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him to go back to Celtic.
Mm.
What
about Crystal Palace in the Carabao on December 18th? That could be a game he plays.
Yeah, but I think we all want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly play there, right?
True.
This is where, we're looking to see the future and looking to build a future and develop the future. And it doesn't seem the best way of picking your team. If you're going to pick a guy who really, with all due respect to Kieran Tierney, I don't think has any hope of a long-term future at Arsenal, whereas Miles Lewis-Skelly is in the very early stages of his career, and we're hoping he can go on to be a first-team player for years and years. So if you're thinking about where to give those minutes, if you're conscious of how you're building for the future, then it's got to be Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah. I think I'm right. Oh, sorry. I think you're right.
Right.
And I agree with you. So I'm also right.
Yes, you're right too. I mean...
yeah, I don't see it. In answer to, is he the best option for the left back? Well, no. Ricardo Calafiori is, if he's available. And actually, I think there were some really promising signs between Calafiori and Martinelli. And, hopefully we can get that going again before too long.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. I mean, there's still Kivior who can play there, Timber who can play there, Tomiyasu who can play there as and when he gets back to full fitness. And I don't know when that will be or how long he will stay, but, he's got that. And then you have, Zinchenko and Tierney as well. So there's just so many options for Mikel Arteta at left back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about this one from SaveMeSomeSalad.bsky.social? He's on the Blue Sky. And he said, is it time to talk about January transfer targets, or, like Christmas decorations, is it still too early?
Good question.
It's definitely too early for Christmas decorations, I think.
I hear you, but my wife last night was saying she was looking for she was like, when can we get them up?
It's the 18th of November.
Oh, I know.
1st of December seems like loads of time. Even that feels like overkill to me. But
I think, the way she's going, I don't think it'll be this week, but it wouldn't surprise me if end of next week, You
just come home to a grotto.
Yeah, I think so. And I've been replaced by Santa.
Yeah.
I think that's entirely plausible. January transfers, well, it's not too early because they're having those chats right now in America.
They went to America. Who went, do we know? Was it Mikel Arteta? Was it Jason Tato?
Jason Tato was on board the plane, yeah. Richard Garlick, the manager, Mikel. I think Tim Lewis.
He's everywhere. Yeah. He goes everywhere, that guy.
He'll be everywhere. And I think they're the main ones. There might be others, but
Steve,
the primary.
Did Steve go?
Oh, I tell you who might have gone. Steve from IT went.
That's good.
And the new fella, James King, may have gone because he's just started at the club.
Right.
And he's the new director of football operations.
Yeah, you would think that's the kind of shit he'd need to be involved in.
You'd think, right?
Yeah. With that title, anyway.
Yeah. Presumably he did Ben White surgery. If he's the director of football operations.
Very good.
Hopefully he knows. I looked at his CV. He's never done any sort of medicine before, so it's definitely a risk.
You just look at a YouTube. That's all anybody does these days. Have a quick look at YouTube. Like when I got a piece of IKEA furniture there a while back, and I looked at the instructions, and I wanted to immediately set the whole thing on fire.
Yeah.
Because they hurt my brain. So I went on YouTube to have a look. And that really hurt my brain as well. But eventually I got the thing together despite having a number of screws and dowels left over.
Good for you. I'm at the point where I've just written myself off for that. I'm now paying people more than the cost of the IKEA furniture to get them to do it for me, I would say.
Well, la-di-da.
Sheer laziness, yeah. I think... So, yeah, so they would have talked about that. I mean, I'm not sure where we're going to get any money from. Because the big thing last summer, we spoke about all summer, was this idea of like one in, one out, have to sell to buy. And that was kind of bought out by what we did. You know, I think we might have even turned a profit. I can't remember, but...
If only, you know, some people would make predictions about what the club is going to spend and get them completely wrong. But it doesn't seem realistic.
It's a pipe dream, mate.
Yeah.
I have to be honest and say I'm not particularly, at this stage, optimistic about Arsenal doing a load of business in January. That is not based on anything other than sort of, you know, just sort of my estimation of where the market's at right now.
Not like insider info or anything.
No. I wasn't on the plane. I've not got a mole in the meetings with the Cronkies right now.
Yeah, not these days.
No. And I think, I don't know. Do you think they'll do something? I sort of feel like if we're out of it by then, it almost feels more pointless. Do you know what I mean? Like, I sort of think I've understood it in previous years when we've been in a really strong position. It's like you've got to capitalise on it. But like if we're where we're at now, like 9 points off, I don't think they'll be like, well, we must buy someone to address that.
It's the market as well in January. Who is available and who is willing to move and who... You know, what sort of price are they going to be available for in January? Because it presents selling clubs with a problem as well, doesn't it? You know? So I don't know anything about what's going to happen or what their plans are, but I would be surprised if we did anything significant in January. But maybe an injury or two could force their hand, you know?
That does sometimes work like that. I just think, you know, the squad building's been quite sort of deliberate to date. And I feel like a January signing, I don't know. But then we signed Raheem Sterling on loan. So we clearly deviate from the plan from time to time.
Yes, and, you know, we could go the other way and sign somebody good and useful. So
yeah. Be an interesting way of doing it.
Interesting development. Have you got one there?
What have we got? We had some stuff about the stadium.
We've done that.
Yeah, we had... Oh, I thought this was quite interesting. Jedward Jizzerhands on Discord said, what do you make of the links to Roberto Alabe as Edu's replacement? Do you think he would be a good fit? And more generally, is there one key area you'd like to see the new sporting director focus on or try to improve?
I mean, he seems experienced. He's got a decent track record with recruitment at Real Sociedad. I suppose the thing that gives me pause for thought with him is that he's not leaving there until the end of the season. So that then, look, I'm sure he can do bits and pieces, but he's got a job to do at Real Sociedad until the end of the season, which in no small part will be about their summer, right? So the job of a sporting director or technical director between January and June is about, you know, putting in place the targets and those kinds of things that you try and get those deals done during the summer. So could he have any influence at Arsenal before he arrives? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm sort of agnostic to this in a way. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting here going, oh, there's a sporting director I'd really like. There's a guy I really want us to bring in. You know, I'm not I don't
Can I chuck this question at you?
Yeah.
Because Craig over on Blue Sky says, does the director of football role really matter that much in the grand scheme of things? Or is it bollocks, like Arsene used to think it was?
No, I don't think it is bollocks. I'm not saying that. I don't think there's like such an outstanding candidate that you're sitting there fretting over, oh, can we get this guy? Can we get that guy? I think if we're going that far down the line with executive hires, then we're a bit too laser focused on what's happening. Obviously, I want Arsenal to bring in somebody good and somebody who can do a good job. I would like to see, someone who can really come in and sell well. I think we've done a bit to change the perception of Arsenal as a selling club in the last year or so. Like, some of the deals have been quite good, but I think we can improve more in that area as well. So that would be something I'd like to see. But who it is, I don't really know or care that much. I saw Thomas Rositzky's name mentioned. He's doing that job for Sparta Prague. You were out there. You interviewed him.
Yeah, I did. I spent ages with him. I spent about nearly a full day with him, really. And I was really impressed. Like, it's weird because he still looks like Thomas Rositzky. He's still got kind of slightly rock star hair and demeanor, but he's wearing a suit and talks very seriously about 5-year plans and stuff like that. He's definitely, we spoke a bit about the fact that a number of Arsene Wenger's players have kind of gone into the sort of sporting director side of things rather than coaching. And I do think that's because that's partly the influence of Arsene, who always was really a kind of sporting director in the way he approached management. And I thought he seemed like super smart, super engaged. He has done what he set out to do at Sparta. He needed them, I think it was 9 years without a title, and they got that. Then they won the title the second successive year, and they got back into the Champions League, which was that was like the apex of his plan, really, to get them back into the Champions League. Helped, no doubt, by the expanded format. And so it's kind of job done for him there. Obviously, it's a big leap to go from Sparta to Arsenal, but I think he's had interest before, maybe from Germany, where he's got a bit of history, and I'm sure it would appeal. And obviously he was a teammate of Mikel Arteta, so there is a certain degree of logic to that one. I think Alabe, I mean, generally with Arteta, I feel like if you're trying to figure out who he wants in any position on the pitch or whatever, guess the guy from Real Sociedad and you won't be far off. And he signed Martin Odegaard. He tried to, wanted to sign Alexander Isak. He's obviously signed Mikel Merino. The point's been made, but Arsenal know Alabe quite well. They've done a number of negotiations with him over the past few years. Kieran Tierney went there, of course. I've heard a few things about him being quite a sort of very much his own man, and quite a tough guy to deal with, and whether he would sort of enjoy playing the foil to someone with as much authority and autonomy as Arteta. I don't know. He's coming from a structure where the sporting director is kind of the big boss, and at Arsenal, I don't think that's quite the case. They see the role slightly differently, see that there's someone supporting Arteta and working in tandem with him rather than sitting above him in the hierarchy. So I think that will be not off-putting, but that will be a consideration for people when they take the gig.
Sure.
I think if you're used to having like loads of authority and the manager reports into you, I don't think you're necessarily going to get that. But I think there's a ton of candidates out there. I saw the guy at PSG, is it Campos, has been linked. There's been names from all over, from Germany. I even think within the Premier League, like, I'm a big fan of Phil Giles at Brentford. I think he's like a real up-and-comer in these things and has done terrific work there, very data-led. They're a very smart club. It feels like an inevitability he'll get a big job at some stage. So I'm really intrigued to see which way we go. And in terms of, like, is there something particularly that I'm looking for from them? Not really, but I do think that there may be something we can add. I made the comparison the other day of of kind of, is Edu our Ramsdale, and are we going to get our David Raya kind of thing? You know, like we really liked Edu, and the barbecue thing was fun, and you know he was great, but we're at a point in our journey where it's like we need to add an extra dimension, maybe something that we didn't necessarily anticipate or foresee. And I hope they bring someone in who can offer that, and who's not just a right-hand man to Arteta, but someone who's going to challenge him and challenge everyone around him and bring in a new dynamic that helps move the club forward.
Yeah, I think that is an important aspect. I think, you know, whatever way the power structures are, you do need some checks and balances along the way. You do need somebody who can, you know, maybe look to the longer. I mean, that's part of the job, isn't it? You know, where a manager is going, I need a player to win me a game tomorrow. The sporting director is thinking, we need players who can help us win, you know, for years and years. So there is a slight difference in the way that they approach it. But yeah, it would be good to have somebody who is at least able not to stand up to Arteta, because, you know, I don't mean to make it sound like he's a tyrant or anything like that. But, you know, there is a sense, isn't there, that he is the most powerful man when it comes to the football decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And
apart from Tim Lewis, sorry.
And I don't think that's inherently a bad thing, right? You want your manager to have a good degree of authority on football matters. So, yeah, it's got to be someone who complements him, but also challenges him. And I actually think this process might take some time, you know, and maybe we won't get somebody in well ahead of the summer. I think that'd be ideal, but I think if it's the right person, they will wait, and they're quite confident that they've been left with decent enough setup, and you know, Jason Ato leading things. The plans for January, you know, that Edu worked on or put in place, or the scouting reports, wherever it might be, they're all still there.
Do nothing.
It's just a big document that says
do nothing. So, cool, we can do that. That's easy.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, you know, talking about January, maybe if the sporting director isn't lined up, like, do you spend big money in January if you know that in 3 months you're getting a sporting director who might have a different vision?
No, not ideally, but if it's the manager's vision, then maybe they go there. What about this before we do the player ratings, the critical T player ratings? I think this is from Threads. It comes from Super Sam 1009. He says, I've taken to using classic pieces of commentary to create passwords at work. If I was going to use Martin Tyler's Will Tord from the Old Trafford 2002 title win, how many O's do you think I need?
Right, let me get another spreadsheet. No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to type it. Let's both type it and see how many O's we use organically. And then we'll see if that's right. Typing.
I've typed it.
Okay.
I've got 7.
You've got 7?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Oh, you just left 16. your key on the O there.
No, I didn't. I actually did it individually, so I thought it looked right. And I have 17.
Okay. Find the happy medium there.
Somewhere between 7 and 17. We won't tell you what the medium is because we're not good at that sort of thing.
No.
But work it out yourself. 17 looks great to me, to my eye. Will Tord. Yeah, that's, You think less?
Yeah, maybe more than 7, but definitely less than 17 for me.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it to you.
Celtickle My Arsenal says, as it's an interlull, the only pertinent question is, what footballer do you think you'd have the best chance of cling filming to a lamppost?
Are they conscious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the sport? Where's the sport in that?
What footballer? Trossard? Quite a small man. I think he would bite and scratch.
Yeah, I think I was thinking Cole Palmer.
Right.
Like, if
because he'd have his arms folded already.
Yeah, and if you put like a bit of his favourite syrup on it, he'd go over and just sort of stand there licking it off while you wrap the cling film around him.
That's true. Then we'd see how cold he is.
Yeah.
After a night strapped to a lamppost.
Cling film to a lamppost.
Right. Critical T player ratings game?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, thank you, Critical T. Player ratings game time. All these ratings are between the legendary Marquinhos Matt Turner double swoop summer and today.
Right. Okay, I like when there's a sort of definite time frame. It makes it a bit easier to
presumably all the answers are Marquinhos and Matt Turner as well, but let's see. Okay, rating number 1, 8 out of 10. Made his first start, scored his first goal, and what a goal it was too.
That is Marquinhos, isn't it?
The highest compliment you can give him is that we didn't really miss Martin Odegaard.
Oh. Fabio Vieira.
Yeah, Brentford away.
Fabio Vieira, yeah, against Brentford.
And it is Brentford away, 22-23.
Oh, how things have changed.
Yeah.
The high hopes we had for little Fabio.
Okay, rating number 2, 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate with the own goal, but didn't let it bother him one bit. Continued to play with real assurance.
William Saliba. Against...
At home to Forest, was it?
Or no, Leicester.
Leicester.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was right.
Hey, 2 for 2.
Rating 3, 6 out of 10. Whiffed at that chance, and his bad pass led to United's goal. But he worked hard, got back well at times. So badly needs a positive contribution in the final third. Should have had a penalty. Bad pass led to United's goal.
See, yeah. So badly. So I'm thinking Gabriel Jesus, but I can't really remember.
Well, it must have been a Man United game.
Well, yes, I gathered that. Because there was the 3-2, but he scored in that game, didn't he, Gabriel Jesus?
Yeah.
Scored a really good goal late on, went around the keeper. Could have been a different Man United game, but...
Right, I've had a look.
Okay. Am I wide of the mark here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about the first half of last season.
Yeah, my mind's a blank.
Well, I know it may seem an age ago now.
It does. So the first half of last season, we played Man United and we beat them 3-2.
Who in that period of time?
Eddie Nketiah scored.
Who needed a goal?
No idea.
Maybe they'd arrived at the club that summer and with a big price tag.
Kai Havertz?
Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz.
Did he score? No, he didn't.
No,
he needed a goal.
He whiffed at that chance.
He whiffed.
He needed a goal.
For goodness sake.
Okay.
I don't remember that pass leading to a United goal either, but there you go.
You don't remember these things when you win. Right. Rating 4, 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
The ball floated over him for their second, but he's just so impressive on the ball and going forward. The best save of the 1,000 saves their keeper made was from his thumping header. So impressive on the ball and going forward.
Calafiori.
Okay. Any idea on a game?
It was the Leicester game this season, I think.
Oh, you know. You're right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah. That doesn't happen too often. You get the player and the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
Okay.
9 out of 10. Made some poor decisions in the first half, but came back to haunt his former club with 2 second-half goals, which he celebrated. Which means, he hates redacted opposition.
Is it Leandro Trossard? No, it's Kai Havertz again.
I think it's going to be Kai Havertz.
It's Kai Havertz
Chelsea.
again against Chelsea, yeah.
It is Kai Havertz, 5-0 against Chelsea. That was a fun game.
That was a great fun game. That goal he scored where he just sort of held Cucurella off as he was running through goal and thumped it home. Loved that goal.
Yeah, great goal.
Loved that goal.
There we go. Good fun as always. Thanks, Critical T.
Thank you very much indeed. I think we should probably just go and get this this podcast out there for everybody.
Get it out. Get the podcast out. Get the mugs posted.
Exactly.
We've got to do all we can in time for the game at the weekend.
For sure. So, like I said, you can find the link to the mugs in the show notes. It'll be on the website as well, on arseblog.com. And if you would like a little bit more of our nonsense, you can join us tomorrow over on Patreon. We're going to have an episode of Waffle, which is the podcast in which we take questions about anything and everything except Arsenal and football. Very occasionally, a slight bit of football will come in. So if you'd like to get on board with that, you can do it at patreon.com/Arseblog. For now, though, thank you so much, as always, for being with us. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.